G.GPE, and by the way, GPE stands for expressing geometric properties. So it's geometric properties with equations. So GPE4 and GPE5 and 7, notice it skips 6, those are all about things on the coordinate plane and properties of these things with equations. So we need to know to do parallel and perpendicular. Let's just go with parallel. If we're talking about an equation, how can you tell that two equations are parallel? Two lines are parallel. What do they have in common? They have the same slope. They are perpendicular if the slopes are opposites and reciprocals. We talked about this a little bit in the lesson that I previously called GCO13, which was really GPE4. So, for example, if I were to give the equation y is equal to 2x plus 5, tell me, raise your hand, somebody tell me an equation that would be parallel to that line. What is a line that would be parallel to that one? Milo?
Y equals 2x plus 40.
Fantastic. Those lines would be parallel. How can you tell?
Because
They have the same slope. So these right here, this number right next to the x, those are the same slope. Okay. Then if I have an equation, y, I'll just do the same one, y is equal to 2x plus 5. What is an equation of a line that would be perpendicular to that? Jacob Malm.
y equals negative 1/2 x plus 5.
X plus 5. Good. So the slopes here are opposite reciprocals because, so here are the slopes again, and those are opposite. So in other words, positive or negative, like one of them is positive and one of them is negative. And then reciprocals because they flipped. Because 2, when we flip it, would be 1 over 2, because this is 2 over 1 and 1 over 2. All right, so we know those things. Other things that you will need for this lesson is you will need to remember what the point slope formula is. Where you can get the slope. They're going to tell you a point, and then you're going to have to figure out a line that's parallel to it and a line that's perpendicular to it. So point slope formula goes like this. So you go y minus y1 is equal to m times by x minus x1. Does this look familiar from previous years of math? I hope so. It looks very familiar. Does it look familiar from this year? Okay, good. And this is something that we were also taught in 8th grade math. So point slope formula. So here's an example of what they would do. Is they would say, write an equation. So this is an equation. Equation for a line. We're gonna write down the directions that they would say. Equation for a line parallel to y is equal to 3x minus 2 that goes through the point, and we will say the point 5, 7. Let me make sure that 5, 7 doesn't fit that one, or else it makes it weird. Nope, it doesn't. Okay. There you go. So they'll say directions like this. So you are going to go like this. So the equation is y minus, now what is the y on the point that they just gave you? 7. Is equal to, now what was the slope that we want it to be parallel to?
3.
So this is my slope right here, so it's going to be 3, the 3 that we got up here. And then we're going to do parentheses x minus, and what is the x in the point that we have there? 5. So notice the 7, 3, and 5 came from the point, and did we care about this minus 2 right now? No, we don't really care about it. We just know that's the line that we're trying to match the slope for. So then what do we have to do to get this equation to look more like the point slope form? So we're going to distribute, very good. So that means we're going to do 3 times by x and 3 times by 5. So then we will get, we'll still have y minus 7 is equal to 3x minus 15. Next thing that we have to do, last thing.
We add 7.
Add 7, because there was a minus 7, and our whole goal is to get the y alone, just like this one right here. So we add 7. So then y, final answer, y equals 3x minus 8. So those two lines are parallel. And if you were to graph them in your graphing calculator, you would also be able to see that they are indeed parallel. Yes? There was a question, only this line passes through 5, 7, but the answer is this line for sure will pass through that point, and this line will be parallel to that line. Like these two lines are parallel,
Nice.
and this line goes through that point.
Got it.
That's what we're doing. Okay, because the slopes are the same. And then if you were to put in 5 for here, you'd get 15, right? And 15 minus 8 is 7. So we know that it fits there. Okay, rate yourself on how well you understand parallel. Do you need to see another example, or do you feel okay with this one?
Okay.
You think we're good? Okay. Let's do now the next one, and the last one for this lesson is we will do perpendicular. So we want to get an equation for a line. And then I'm going to use the symbol for perpendicular because I don't like writing out the whole thing. Perpendicular to the line y is equal to, we will do the line negative 1/4 x. And then I could even say plus 329 if I felt like it. And I do, so I did. Okay, so write an equation perpendicular to that line that goes through it will go through the point, let's say it's going to be negative 2 and negative 4. Yeah, 4. Okay, good. So we start by writing our line, our equation, y minus, now what was my y?
Your 329.
It was negative 4, so it would be minus 4 right here, right? Which would in the end make that a plus 4, correct? And then is equal to, now what's my slope? What is the opposite reciprocal of negative 1/4?
4.
Regular 4, because we flip it and then make it opposite. Regular 4, and then we have x minus, and what was my x?
Minus 2. Negative.
Negative 2,
Which would be plus.
which is indeed going to make that a plus 2.
The negative 4 be in parentheses.
The negative 4 could be in parentheses. I just wrote it like this, so it was all separate. So what I would do instead of parentheses right now is how I do it. If you want to do parentheses, you can, because technically there would need to be parentheses around any negatives. But you can just do minus a negative makes it a plus. So I would have y plus 4 is equal to 4 times by x plus 2. And then it's the same steps as we did last time. So what step do we need to take right now? Distribute. So we would get 4x plus 8, and y plus 4. And the last step, to get the y alone, we have to do what?
Subtract 4.
Subtract 4, subtract 4. And can I subtract 4 from the 4x? So just like minus 4 right here? No, they're not like terms. So y is equal to 4x plus 4. Man, we have a lot of 4s here. Anyway, okay. So then these two equations are perpendicular. They cross at some weird place, but they're perpendicular, and this line goes through that point. Like the new line that I just came through goes through that point. So perpendicular. All right, that's the end of that lesson.